leaving the inland areas as the last bastion of defense. That's where the underground facilities come in. They would allow the country's leadership and much of its population to survive and operate even after the coastal cities have fallen. Another theory is that China is simply preparing for the worst-case scenario, a massive nuclear attack. The country's leadership has long been paranoid about its vulnerability to attack, and this has only grown since the end of the Cold War. With the threat of nuclear war now greater than ever, China is taking steps to ensure its survival. The underground shelters could provide enough food, water, and supplies to sustain the country's population for months, if not years. They could also withstand the blast and radiation of a nuclear attack, allowing China to emerge from the ashes if and when the threat passes. Gosh, this is all speculation. The Chinese government is extremely secretive about its plans for these underground facilities. But that hasn't stopped people from coming up with all sorts of theories. Some believe that the tunnels could be used to smuggle people or goods in and out of the country undetected. Others believe they could be used to launch surprise attacks on enemy forces, or even store dangerous biological weapons. One of the most ambitious projects is the Underground Great Wall. This is a series of tunnels and bunkers that are being constructed beneath the existing Great Wall of China. They redesigned to be large enough to accommodate hundreds of thousands of people, and are being equipped with everything from hospitals to factories. The idea is that if war breaks out, China's leaders and their top scientists and engineers will flee to the underground wall where they can continue to direct the country's military and scientific efforts from safety. But this raises a lot of questions. Why do they need factories? How long do they expect to stay there? And what happens when they run out of food and supplies? Well, the answer to the first question is simple. China knows that if it comes to war, it won't be a conventional conflict fought with tanks and fighter jets. It will be a war of attrition, a battle of logistics. The side that can keep its factories running, its farms producing, and its people fed the longest will win. And China is making sure it's prepared for that. As for how long they plan to stay in the underground wall, well, that's less clear. Some experts believe that they could remain there for months, or even years if necessary. Others believe that the whole thing is a bluff, a way to make other countries think China is more prepared for war than it actually is. What's also impressive is the technology involved in keeping people alive and healthy in such a confined space for such a long time. It takes a Herculean effort to build and maintain the complex systems of ventilation, water filtration, and waste management that will be necessary